Good morning, everyone. This is Nana for Tangled Time Arts, and today we're going to be taking a look at tile 2 of the mosaic that we're working on. And this is part of the Fragment of Your Imagination challenge from Seven Forests, Five Rivers Studio. And for tile 2, we are working on days 5 through 8. So we will be taking a look at Flet and static, Twicod or Twicod, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, and Hokusai for day 8. All right. Materials that we are going to need are a Micron 01 or any black pen, but I'm using the 01 because it has a finer tip on it. You'll need a number 2 pencil, a tortillon, and I also have my Sakura Micron 10 for any larger areas that we have to fill in. And I also have a tile that we already put the string, the reticula on there. And this was the one of the suggested reticula from the packet, which you can still request your free packet, your free handout from Seven Forests, Five Rivers, and the information's in the description. And if you don't want to work on the smaller original tile and transfer all of this onto here, you can simply print it from the handout. The one in the handout is about the size of an Apprentice tile. But if you print it on computer paper and cut it out, you can follow along. And at the end, you'll also have a really nice mosaic. All right, so let's start with our pen. I'm going to take the 01 and day 5 flat is in the square fragment area. Okay, it's a square fragment. So I like to work from the left and go to the right. So we're going to start over here. And flat reminds me a lot of cubine. So if you're familiar with cubine, this should go pretty quickly. And it simply starts with a square. And because this line is slanted a little bit, I'm going to kind of aura that and put that in like that. And I'm going to do this for each one of the square areas on this side. And we have that filled in. And then I'm going to aura this line a little bit on the inside here. And then I'm going to add some diagonal lines. And what's interesting about this one is that you don't have to do this for all 4 tiles. You can pick 1 or 2 and leave it without the diagonal lines. But I'm just going to start here with the upper left one and start adding diagonal lines like that. And I think I'm going to also add those to this one. And I think I'll leave this one without. And I'm going to add diagonal lines to this one. And then I am going to take the Micron 10 and I am going to ink in this area here for each of them. I don't often use the 10, but it is a little faster. And because it has such a chunky area of solid black, it does kind of have some drama there. All right, so that's that for the left side. I'm going to put the cap on the 10 and I'm going to take up my O1 again, and then we're going to move over to the right side. And I think for the right side, maybe I would like to mirror this. So I'm going to start over here. And again, just like with Cubine, we're going to put in our little square. But I am following the slanted line there. Like that. And then I'm going to have the diagonal lines go this way. And let's just start here. And again, you can leave one or two of these squares just white. But I'm trying to mirror this side, so I'm going to add the diagonal lines to both of these top ones. And on our next row, I'm just going to add the lines to this one. And then we're going to add this line on the inside. We're just doing the aura of the outside line. All right. And then I'm going to switch to the 10 and ink in these areas here. All right. So that's January 5, day 5, Flet, Flet. I'm going to put the cap on the 10 and set that to the side now. Day 6 is static. Yay for static. And they have static in the circle. So I am also going to put static in my circles. And I'm going to do it a little differently as far as carrying the tangle over into each of these. So I'm going to rotate my tile so that I'm going to be working this way. And I am going to start on the far left orb, right kind of in the middle. And static is like a zigzag. And I am just going actually through, continuing on through all of the circles like they're connected. Here I have a little space, so I'm going to lift up my pen and go over and rotate my tile. And rotate some more. And I'm really trying to cut these circles in half with the zigzag. Like that. And then I'm going to go back to where we started. And I'm going to aura that zigzag all the way around. When I get to an area where it's not connected, I lift my pen up and kind of air draw over to the next area. Keep rotating and adding the aura. It's a very long aura. All right, and we're going to keep doing that until we run out of space in the circles. So I'm gonna, at this point, pick my pen up and go over to the other circle and continue on. And the magic with static is going to be in the shading. All right. And I think we can add a little bit more here. And then come over here. And kind of fill that in. And at this point, I'm just going to finish these off in the little spaces that are there. That about does it. If you choose, you can also add the auras to the bottom half of the circles. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it as it is because I kind of like that the way it is. But if you would like to, you could go through and add, you could aura the bottom halves. And that's it for static. We will be shading that later. So that was day 6. And then we have January 7 is Twicod in the triangle shape. So for this one, I'm actually going to be working in these 3 triangles, like we did with our tile number 1. We worked with these 3 triangles. And actually to do that, I'm going to rotate this way just because it's a little easier for me. And for this one, we're going to start with 2 parallel lines and then kind of have them continue on at the bottom. And then not at the top, but a little bit down, we're going to curve out to this point, cross over, and then we're going to curve back like that, but a little lower. So here we started a little higher from the gap, and here we're coming back a little lower from the gap. And then we are going to make this awesome squiggly line. So start at the same point, come out a little bit, and then kind of make a squiggly, come back across the 2 parallel lines, and then in like that. And we're going to ink in these areas. And then I add a little more at the top and the bottom. It's kind of like a ribbon wrapped around a pole or a stick. It's kind of cool. And if you'd like, you could add a detail of an additional line running through it, or 2 lines. All right, so we did 1, and now we're going to do another one over here. This is a little harder to fit in because it's a smaller space. And here we're doing our squiggly line and come back around. Fill in these areas here and add a little, like it's coming, wrapping around. And then we can add the detail of the extra line. And then we just have 1 more to do. Take your time with these. These kind of take a little bit of practice. But it is a very interesting tangle. All right, I think we have all 3 of them in there. Okay, so that's it for the triangle fragment. And then we have day 8, which is Hokusai after the Japanese artist. And for that one, you can start with a line or a curve. And I'm going to start with the larger seed shape because that's the shape that we have left is the seed shape. And for this particular one, since this is larger, I'm going to actually make kind of a little squiggly line. And then I'm going to rotate it like this. And Hokusai starts with, it's kind of like a letter U pointed to the left. And then you're going to add another one kind of pointed to the right. And then you're going to make another one. So you're alternating them. And they float above your line. And then you're going to add kind of like a V shape. We'll do the V shape between the taller areas first. And then you're also going to do that for the smaller areas. And at the end, I just do a V and bring it to the point. I'm going to do a V and bring it to the point. And then I'm simply going to ink that in. And for that, the larger area, I'm going to switch to my pen, which has the wider tip on it. Just because it's easier to fill larger areas in. If you don't have one handy, that's totally okay. You just take your time and fill it in. All right, so we have our largest one filled in there. And then we have 3 more seeds here, and I've switched back to my O1. And because there's not a lot of space, I'm just going to use the lines that's already there. So I'm going to do a U shape here, another one here, and then one there. And fill in with a little V shape. And then I'm going to do the same here. There's not a lot of space. But just enough. And then for the last one, I'm going to use this line here. All right, and then I'm going to just ink these in. These are very tiny areas. There we go. All right. So that was day 8, Hokusai. I'm going to put the cap on my pen, make sure both my pens have a cap on it. And then I'm going to pick up my number 2 pencil. And we're going to start with the Flet. It doesn't really need a lot of shading. And there's different ways you could do it, but I'm just going to run a little graphite along here and along here. And then I'm also going to add some here. And I'm going to put some here as well. I'm going to rotate over and let's see. We'll keep it similar since this is the mirror image. And when we put the mosaic together at the very end, we might do a little more shading, but for now, we're just keeping it pretty simple. And I think that's all I'm going to add for the Flet. Now for static, and this is the fun part with static. Every place there's a valley, we're going to add some graphite. And then rotate. All right. Now, let's see, what can we do for our triangular fragments? I think I'm just going to add some shading on the outside. There's so many different ways you could go with this, but I'm just going to add a little bit of graphite on the outside here just to make this white area really pop off the page. And I think I'll add a little shading here as well. And then with the Hokusai, there really isn't much to add there, especially with the smaller seeds. I think with the larger seed, we could add a little bit of shading at both points. And maybe a little along the edges there. Otherwise, I don't think there's really a lot to add. All right, I'm going to set the pencil aside and pick up the tortillon. If you don't have a tortillon, you could use a cotton swab, or you could even use your finger. We're just gonna very, very gently blend this out. And I'm just gently rubbing the tortillon back and forth along the graphite. And at the same time, I'm going left and right. I'm also pulling it towards me. Okay. Do the same here. But I always start closest to the ink line and then spread it out from there. And we'll do the same on the other side. That. And then we've got our static, and we are blending the areas where there's a valley or where it comes to a point. And then I think I'd like to add just a little bit to the bottom of each circle. And I'm just doing that with the tortilla so that it's not too overwhelming. Like that. All right. And then we have our triangular areas. And first I'm gonna pull out the point here like that. And then I'm going to kind of work around each of our Twicod shapes. And we've got one more here. All right, awesome. And then we have the seed shapes. And again, there wasn't really anything in these. There's not a lot of room. But in our larger seed shape here, we do have a little bit of graphite that we're just going to blend out. Like that. And that's really it for now. When we put the mosaic together, when we have all of our tiles finished, we might do a little more shading just to bring it all together. And then we might also add some more ink to different areas like this or this. Let's see, I have my tile 1 handy. And so let's put them together. Yeah, it's kind of coming together. How cool is that? So we have tile 1 and tile 2, and we'll see how this comes along. It's looking really cool though. Isn't that awesome? Give yourself a pat on the back. I'm sure yours looks amazing too. All right, so what we can do is on the back here, you can put some information on there if you'd like. And I like to put my name. And this is 2024 Fragment of Your Imagination Challenge. And this was tile 2. And we had Flet. And then we had Static. And we had Twicod and Hokusai. And I'll put all that information in the description. You can add the dates if you'd like to. Otherwise, that's it for tile 2. This one has a lot of drama to it. So I really like it. Thank you for joining me this morning, and I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. I can't wait till we get more tiles done and to see how it's looking, but it already is looking awesome. Thanks for joining me. So see you next time. Love you guys. Bye-bye.